This is about those days when Jesus was spending his time in Galilee. By this time, the fame of Jesus had spread far and wide. People from far and wide used to come to Jesus for the solution of their worries and problems. One such day when Jesus was giving a sermon to his disciples in Galilee, then a middle-aged man was walking towards Jesus, carrying his young son with him. When they reached near the place of the sermon, Jesus took a look at him and gestured to him to sit. When the sermon was over and everyone went away, Jesus called that person to him and asked him to sit. There was greenery all around. The weather was very pleasant, and the sounds of different types of birds were echoing. Seeing such a scene, the person was feeling immense peace from within. After this, Jesus asked the person the reason for coming. On this, the person said, "Jesus, I have traveled a long distance for 2 days and have brought my son to meet you. This is my only one. A son, and he is tired all the time. It seems as if he has no life inside him. His nature has also become very irritable. If we say anything to him, he gets angry at small things. The ability to see has also become weak before age, and his hair has also started turning gray. I don't understand why I look so old at such a young age. Jesus, I am very worried about my sons. When I took my son to doctor, he gave him some medicine and said, 'Tell your son to take less stress. He takes too much stress in his mind. That is why he has got such a condition.' But even after explaining a lot to him, I did not understand the meaning of stress. Do not know what stress is, what the reasons are why it comes, and how to remove it from my son's mind. But first of all, I want to understand what stress is. That is why I've come to you. Please solve my problem." Hearing this, Jesus looks at his son very carefully, looks at his face, looks at his eyes, and then also looks at the pulse of his. After doing all these procedures, Jesus says to that person that no one wants to take stress, but still this stress takes hold of people's minds like termites, and the person does not even know that he is living under stress. But if the person understands the causes of stress well and how to get relief from stress, if someone makes such a scale by which he can know how much stress he is under, then he can also find a solution to this problem. First of all, should understand what stress is whenever a person is doing any work. But if his mind is wandering somewhere far away or is in imagination, then a distance is created between his body and mind. The greater this distance, the more unconscious the person is, and this distance between body and mind increases. Stretching is called stress. After all, why does a person feel energetic and happy after playing a favorite game when he has tired his body? But the thing to understand is that while playing, the mind and body are completely engaged. In that game, we are focused, due to which distance does not arise between body and mind. And now tension is created, and if there was any tension in the mind, it also goes away. But, on the contrary, when we do something that we do not like, our body is doing that work, but our mind is wandering far away in imaginations, due to which a distance is created between the body and mind, and stress is born. That is why a person should do only one work at a time, and all the strength of one's body and mind should be used on that one task so that stress does not arise inside the person. After this, Jesus said that there are 8 main reasons for stress, and the one who understands these reasons will remain stress-free throughout his life. Maybe the first reason is to be very ambitious. Being ambitious is a good thing, but have you ever noticed that a person's goals are never fulfilled? When one of his goals is not fulfilled, he starts running towards another. When the second one is completed, then he moves towards the third one, and in this way he keeps roaming in circles throughout his life to achieve his goals. That is why a person who is very ambitious and has made big goals is never able to live in the present. His mind is always busy making plans for the future. His body remains in the present, but his mind remains in the future, due to which distance is created between the mind and the body, and he starts living a stressful life. Hear this from the mouth of Jesus. The boy said, "Jesus, then it means that we should not make goals, because making goals is also an ambition." On this, Jesus said that there is nothing wrong with making goals in life, But the problem arises when we do not give full attention to it. Focus only on the results obtained from that goal and keep worrying about its results. A person should know how to live in the present. You make a goal and work hard to achieve that goal, but at the same time you should also be aware of this. You should be living in the present, and the present is the truth. Jesus further said that the second biggest cause of stress is jealousy. When a person is filled with jealousy and envy, his mind starts rotting from within. Jealousy is an internal wound. The internal wound, the wound of the mind, can heal the wound of a person's body, but the wound of the mind can never heal. That is why a person should never be jealous of the happiness and progress of others, because jealousy is the cause of stress. After this, Jesus gave the third solution to stress. Explaining the reason, he said that not doing proper work also creates tension in the mind. We do not like to do the work in which we are not interested. Our mind will not be able to concentrate on that work. Our body will remain sitting there, but our mind will take flight of imagination, due to which distance is created between body and mind, and the person becomes stressed. That is why a person should always work according to his interest. If the person has found out what work he likes to do, and if he makes the same work the goal of his life, then that work becomes not a work for him but a game. Then Jesus said that the fourth reason for stress is to be better than someone else. Jesus said while pointing towards that person, being, Father, you will have many expectations from your son that your son should become a very successful person, make your name famous, live the kind of life you want, and listen to everything you say, but till date, have anyone's expectations ever been fulfilled? What has happened is that whenever a person starts having expectations from someone else, he unknowingly starts creating stress for himself. Just imagine if your son is not acting as per your expectations and is not able to become what you want him to be. If yes, then definitely, stress will take hold of your mind. You will start living a life full of stress, and under the influence of this stress, you will behave in such a way and say such things that your relationship with your son will get worse. That is why the person one should have as few expectations from others as possible, and if you want to remain completely stress-free, then stop having expectations from others. After this, Jesus said that physical suffering is also a reason for human stress when a person is in trouble. If someone is going through physical pain, his entire attention is on that physical pain, and he keeps thinking about it the whole day, due to which his mind gets filled with thoughts of sorrow, and in such a situation, the person starts feeling stressed. Hearing this, the person said, "Oh Jesus, if physical pain can happen to any person, then what if the person will live in stress throughout his life?" Answering this, Jesus said that man should understand that our life is based on suffering. As our life progresses, sorrows come in it, diseases come, and then finally death also comes. So diseases are an integral part of human life. No one can escape from them. It just comes to some people's life before time. If a person has a disease, it comes later. When the mind of a person will understand this very well, then he will not take much stress by thinking about his disease, because it is an integral part of our life, and for this the person has to suffer physically. One should also keep practicing. One should also give place to exercise and a healthy lifestyle in one's life, so that one's body can remain healthy for a long time and function properly. The next cause of stress is not giving people time to understand one's plans in their minds. Without any thought coming into his mind, he starts working on it without thinking, and when he gets failure in that work, he gets filled with stress because he had gathered complete information about that work before starting it. Before starting any work, a person should think carefully about its good and bad consequences. The person should also think about what he will do next if this plan is not successful. Therefore, a person should give full time to understand his plans properly, so that later that plan does not create stress. The seventh biggest cause of stress is procrastination, postponing today's work for tomorrow. You people have heard this saying. You must have heard that laziness is the biggest enemy of the human body. Because of laziness, a person postpones today's work for tomorrow, and then postponing work becomes his habit. The person who postpones work for tomorrow can never finish his work on time. A task is not completed, and even if it is completed somehow, it is not as good as it could have been, and then this creates tension within the person, but postponing the work or finishing the work completely. Doing things on time is a habit. That is why a person, despite not wanting to, repeatedly becomes a victim of this habit and keeps postponing the work, and then when the deadline for the work comes near, he becomes stressed and tries to complete the work. Therefore, to remain stress-free, a person will have to give up the habit of postponing work, and this is possible only when the person decides to finish the work before time. The last and most important reason for stress is overthinking. Constant thinking is also a disease, and it is most common in a person who only fantasizes, who keeps thinking about past events and the future, who keeps making unnecessary guesses. That is why the person has the habit of thinking too much. You should control yourself. For this, you should keep yourself busy with work as much as possible and make practicing meditation every day a part of your life. Hearing all these things from the mouth of Jesus, the person folded his hands and said, "Jesus is my son. He is only 20 years old, and he does not have enough understanding yet to follow all the things told by you. Please tell me some easy ways to remain stress-free so that my son can follow it and become stress-free." Hearing this prayer of that person, Jesus thought for a while and replied, "If you cannot follow so many things, then there is a very easy method for this. Concentrate on doing one thing at a time, whatever the work. Do only that work at that time. Concentrate completely on it, and if your mind wanders here and there, then as soon as you remember, put it back on that work. This is the easiest and best way to remain stress-free. When you eat only food, enjoy its full taste, experience it, and when you walk, concentrate completely on walking. This will keep both your mind and your body focused in one place. There will be no distance between them, which is the main cause of stress. Hence, as far as possible, try to do only one thing at a time, and that too with full attention." Friends, I hope that you got to learn a lot from this story. Well, thank you.